In Activity 5, using a magnifier, students use magnifiers to observe objects such as rocks, feathers, pine cones, and pennies. The students then compare magnified and unmagnified views of objects to discover that a magnifier is a type of tool that can extend the sense of sight. From the kit, you will need Activity Sheet 5, magnifiers, peacock feathers, pennies, small pine cones, granite rocks, pumice rocks, and trays. You will also need to provide large magnifier on a stand and objects to observe with a magnifier. A few days before doing this activity, set up a large magnifier on a stand. Place 2 rocks, 1 piece of granite and 1 piece of pumice, under the magnifier for students to observe during free time. Make a copy of Activity Sheet 5 for each student and prepare a tray of objects for each team, including a peacock feather, a small pine cone, and a penny from the kit, and any additional objects you may wish to add. Make sure all trays contain examples of the same objects. A few days before the activity, show students the large magnifier you've set up. Tell them that the clear glass or plastic part of the magnifier we look through is called a lens. Encourage students to look at the granite and pumice underneath the magnifier during free time. To begin the activity, ask students to describe what they saw through the magnifier. Have them share how the 2 objects are alike and different, and elicit that the objects are the same in one way, that both objects are rocks. Encourage students to think about how the objects are different by comparing them. Ask students, what differences did you see when you looked through the magnifier? Students should mention color, shininess, holes, and smoothness. Next, tell students to observe one of the rocks more closely. Give each team a piece of granite and let them observe it by looking at it and touching it. The students may observe that it is hard, bumpy, pink and black, speckled, rough, and so on. Give each student a magnifier and explain that it is a smaller version of the magnifier on the stand. Ask students, what is the same about the 2 magnifiers? What is different? Students will notice that both magnifiers have clear pieces of glass or plastic, called lenses, to look through. However, the smaller magnifier has handles and can be easily moved around, whereas the large one stays in one place. Show students how to use the magnifier on an object, in this case, a rock, by slowly moving the lens towards or away from the object until it comes into focus. Ask students, how does the magnifier change how the rock looks? Students should have observed that the magnifier makes the rock look bigger, closer, more visible. Explain that to magnify is to make something look larger, and then a magnifier magnifies objects or makes them look larger. To avoid confusion, you may wish to refer to the small magnifiers as hand lenses. Next, ask students what properties of their rocks that they can see better with the magnifier. They should come up with a number of answers such as bumps, tiny specks of color, or bits of shiny material. Emphasize that students should see the magnifier as a tool, because the magnifier helps us do something. In this case, the magnifier helps us to see things better and in more detail, because it makes an object look larger. Next, inform students that they will now use their magnifiers to observe other objects. Distribute the trays of objects and have the students add their pieces of granite to the tray. Give students time to freely observe the objects. They may also wish to view their skin, fingernails, and clothing. After a few minutes, invite them to share their observations. Ask students to describe what the penny looks like through the magnifier. The students should note that they can see the letters and numbers better, as well as more detail on the face and the building. Expand the class discussion by asking students to describe and compare the penny, viewed both through a magnifier and without a magnifier. Explain to the class that some tools, such as a magnifier, help us to compare things. Next, select another object from one team's tray and ask the class to compare how the object is the same and different under the magnifier. If time allows, follow the same procedure with other objects from the tray. Distribute a copy of Activity Sheet 5 to each student. Have students follow instructions on the sheet, writing their name in the box with a large primary crayon. Make sure they write their name in large letters. Give students time to observe their name through a magnifier and to draw what they see. Then, ask students to compare the ways their names look both without the magnifier and through the magnifier. Students should find that the color of their name is the same. The letters are in the same order, and the straight and curved lines are still straight and curved. Students should also observe that the letters are bigger under the magnifier, and that they cannot see their whole names at once. They should also discover that with the magnifier, the lines of the letters are fatter, and the edges of the lines do not look as smooth or even. To review, summarize for the class that magnifiers are tools that help us see things better by making objects look bigger and closer. To conclude the activity, collect the magnifiers and materials and return them to the kit. You may wish to place some of these objects, along with the large magnifier and some of the kit magnifiers, in the Science Center for student exploration. Remember to keep the experience chart on display. For science background, reinforcement activities, curriculum connections, and information about the Delta Science readers, please consult your DSM Teacher's Guide.